I got laid off from my corporate job that I've had for the last 2 years, and I've had a few days to process it now, so let's talk about it. So I worked as a recruiter, and I was one of many people that got laid off, and it was sad because I really did like my job. Like, I loved my team, I liked what I did day to day, so now I'm kind of in this limbo of what do I do next? I mean, most people naturally, they get laid off and they immediately start looking for new jobs, and that's what people keep asking me, like, are you interviewing yet? Do you need, like, connections? Do you want resume help? Like, all that stuff. But hot, kind of controversial take is I am just gonna take some time off. And I know that sounds crazy, but I am 24 years old. I've been saving for literally my whole life, so I'm prepared for this. And I make extra income on the side through TikTok, so it's not like I'm just sitting around doing nothing. And honestly, like, it sounds really selfish, but, like, if I have the means to, why not? Like, why not just chill for a few months and see where it takes me? I think Gen Z has really realized that, like, working a corporate job that you're not passionate about for the rest of your life is just really, really depressing. I feel like I kind of had this opportunity given to me, so I'm just gonna see where it goes, like, take some time to figure out my life. Like, what do I want to do? Like, follow some passions. I don't know. I literally have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm going to figure it out. Point is, right now, I'm young. I don't have kids, a house, a mortgage. I don't really have anything depending on me. So right now is probably the best and only time I'll have to do this.
Hello. So I just got laid off for the first time in my life. Really, really sad. I really liked my job. I worked for the Kroger main offices in Portland, Oregon. And they're doing a restructuring. And it's not personal, I guess. My boss is not happy. But it hurt. And it's not like I did something wrong. Anyways, so that's how my morning's going. I really, really liked what I was doing. I did my best.
How do you plan to reduce your workforce as an outcome of this merger? How many layoffs are we talking about?
We will not lay off any frontline workers as a part of this.
What does that mean? No workers?
If you look at frontline workers...
You're inserting the word frontline. Let's just stay with workers.
Well, frontline would be warehouses, manufacturing plants, stores. There would be no layoffs.
So no layoffs at all?
No layoffs on any of those positions, sir.
Well, what positions would you consider laying off then?
We've ended up not laying off anybody because what we have found is the merged companies do things better than we do.
You conducted a stock buyback recently of, I think, about $1 billion. Why not give that money, pass that money along to your associates, as you say, in the form of higher wages?
Yeah, as I shared earlier, we've invested an incremental $1.2 billion in associate wages over the last 4 years.
Could have been $2 billion if you hadn't have done the stock buybacks.
We also spent over $1 billion, right at $1 billion, improving pension benefits as well.
Hey, you guys, we decided to come to this girl that's shutting down. There's things that are on sale, but there's other things that you can get a good deal out of. The only thing I didn't see on sale was eggs, milk, meat, seafood, cheese, and all the dairy stuff. But basically all the freezer stuff was basically gone, but there's a little bit stuff left there. For the mamas that are looking for a discount on diapers, wipes, and other little things they need for your kids, you should go get it. I saw for the dog food, they had a good discount on dog food because my sister-in-law got 2 bags. And she usually pays like $53 for them, but she got them for $30 each. We got all this for $130. The Kroger, they're closing down. There's good deals. You should go look. And I'll leave the address in the comments.
Today at work, there was a round of riffs where they let people go. I always feel bad for the people where it catches them off guard. I'm one of those, pick me, pick me. I'd love to be forced retired at this point in my life. What about you?
Hey, what's up, America? Kroger to close 60 stores and fire a bunch of people. So the grocery store Kroger has announced that it'll be closing 60 underperforming stores and lay off potentially thousands of workers. Now, Kroger states that this is because of a failed merger between them and Albertsons grocery store. Of course, just a month ago, Kroger stated that no workers would be fired and no stores would be closing, only to say today that they're going to be closing 60 underperforming stores and firing thousands of employees. The exact opposite of what they just said. What a surprise. I always trust what companies say because they never lie to their employees or the general public. Now, to be fair, there's 409,000 people that work for Kroger, and the loss of about 1,500 to 2,000 people really isn't going to crush it. The loss of 60 stores, however, might be a bit more than people understand. So far, there's no word on where the exact locations of these Krogers that are shutting down are going to be, but Kroger does operate nearly 2,800 stores. So this is technically just a drop in the bucket, but it does signal some type of stress in Kroger. Probably because the prices are high as fuck and people aren't buying as much because they can't afford it. And if you take those food stamps away from illegal aliens, it's hard to prop up those artificial numbers, isn't it?
And Kroger is laying off 1,000 employees in the red state of Ohio. Cincinnati, Ohio is a red state that voted for this administration. Look at this. Kroger, grocery store chain, is laying off 1,000 people in this area. Right now, layoffs are rampant. Companies are losing billions because of tariffs. Companies are losing money because people are not shopping, because they're being laid off. People are afraid of what's going on in the economy. Yes, this is an economic crisis. A recession is coming and maybe even something worse. If you did not know, there are over 7 million people unemployed right now in the United States. The second week of August, 235,000 new unemployed people hit the job. Layoffs are rampant. Please get your finances in order. Do not buy anything right now.
$9 billion increase over the previous year, and they can't keep a few stores open in the neighborhoods that need them the most. You know, if this were a real system that served the actual interests of people, there would be an exit tax on Kroger for pulling out like this. But instead, they can give 18 days notice and say, yeah, we're going to be out of here. Everybody that works here out of a job, everybody that depends on the grocery store for their food, for their medication, for their supplies. It's too bad. Food is a right. It is not a privilege. Everybody needs it.
I believe in protecting workers' rights.
8,000 union workers for Kroger stores in Indy and beyond have already voted to reject 2 separate contracts from the company. But leaders with the United Food and Commercial Workers Local 700 say don't expect a strike anytime soon. I spoke with the shop steward for the store in Fishers, and he says that he and his coworkers are still on edge.
There's a lot of fear there. But I think if Kroger would have done the right thing at the first, we wouldn't be in this situation. I mean, I can afford to strike, but there's a lot of people I know at work that can't.
The union met with Kroger last Friday. They set some more dates for bargaining, and the next time they'll be heading to the bargaining table is next Wednesday, August 6th. Be sure to read my article, which is already up on our website.
It's been called one of the largest retail mergers in U.S. history. Kroger Albertsons. It would give Kroger almost 5,000 stores nationwide with 700,000 workers before an undetermined number of store divestitures. Morgan Harper is with the American Economic Liberties Project. Joins me now from Columbus, Ohio, to discuss this. Okay, so Morgan, look, we've seen these mergers before. We've seen these companies do these things before. And what tends to happen is, a lot of times is layoffs, store closures. The grocery business is not a high profit margin business. Typically operates on 1% to 2% profit margins. And so what will this merger first mean for customers, food prices, and then employees?
Yeah, well, thanks again for having me. And you're right. You're identifying all these different harms that we anticipate will come from this merger. So one, we've already seen grocery prices, food prices increase a lot since the pandemic with inflation, and having Kroger Albertson as a merged company have even more market dominance is going to give them the power to increase prices even more. After this merger, they will dominate about 70% of regional grocery markets throughout the country. They'll also employ about 700,000 workers. So that means that there are fewer places for workers to go to try to get alternative jobs if they don't want to work at a Kroger Albertsons, and they're just going to have to accept whatever wages Kroger's paying. So yeah, it's going to harm us as those who are buying food, which is pretty much everyone. It's going to harm people who work at Kroger's, which is a lot of people, especially where I'm based, in Ohio. And we're going to see it even harder for our independent grocery store owners, small business owners, to compete against this type of giant.
Day 2, I'm getting laid off. So, first of all, I am still technically working, so I'm going to do what I need to do there, But I have 2 things I'm going to do today. So, also, stop it. I'm not putting heat on my hair and I have no makeup on yet. I promise this can look better. But, first, I'm going to let my network know. My network is my most valuable asset in these types of scenarios, especially in marketing. Most people have been through it in marketing, so they completely understand. And, they can hype me up. They can tell me when they hear of a job. I can talk with them about what I should do next, to advance my career. And so my network will be one of my most valuable assets. Second most valuable asset at this point is updating my resume. I do have an updated resume, but I have done some pretty spectacular things as of late at my current role, and I need to get them on my resume. So that's day 2. Come back for more.
I have a hot take today, and it might be slightly delulu, but a girl can dream, right? I believe that if a company hires you and then proceeds to lay you off within a year's time frame, they should be required by law to pay out the remainder of that year's salary plus your health benefits. And let me tell you why. A good chunk of companies have the tendency to set their budgets at the end of the fiscal year. So say, for example, you were someone like me who got hired on in January. That team and that department already had budget for their headcount set aside last year. So explain to me why you're going through a process of restructuring in your company and all of a sudden you don't have the budget to cover that headcount that you budgeted for last year. Make it make sense to me. Do you not know how budgeting 101 works in any kind of business capacity? Because I honestly can't understand how these companies decide these things. And then what's even worse is they toss people out on the street in less than a year, and with maybe 2 weeks or a month of severance. Some people don't even get insurance paid for. It just gets cut off at the end of that month. And if you know what day of August this is, some people only have 4 or 5 days left. So, seriously, I really truly believe, and I hope in the future, the companies are starting to be held more responsible for their bad budgeting decisions. Because this is stuff that impacts the economy. Especially if you budgeted for that headcount late last year, and then now we're in Q3, and you all of a sudden are like, we can't afford to keep all these people. Something tells me you're lying. Or again, you just really suck as a leader when it comes to budgeting. I would hate to see what your bank account looks like. But that's just me. Thanks for listening.
$9 billion increase over the previous year, and they can't keep a few stores open in the neighborhoods that need them the most. You know, if this were a real system that served the actual interests of people, there would be an exit tax on Kroger for pulling out like this. But instead, they can give 18 days notice and say, yeah, we're going to be out of here. Everybody that works here out of a job, everybody that depends on the grocery store for their food, for their medication, for their supplies. It's too bad. Food is a right. It is not a privilege. Everybody needs it.
I really don't think people understand what is coming over the next 18 months, especially if you're working in corporate America. If that's you, you might want to save this video for later, and please share it with a friend who's working in corporate. We are seeing what they are calling the Great Restructuring. And essentially, it is consolidation of people and humans within an organization as they blend with technology. It basically means that companies are looking to get rid of irrelevant job titles, job roles. They're looking to get rid of these massive teams that don't get anything accomplished for 3 or 4 years. I've spoken to so many people who have been laid off over the last 2 to 3 years, and I've noticed something. The bigger the company they are at, the less impact they actually have, which makes their resume really, really hard to work. I will get people who share with me projects they've worked on where they've been one of 20 people. If you're in a role like that, it's really hard to define the value that you're bringing to the company you're working at. And it also means you are primed to be consolidated. You see, companies are making decisions of how they blend humans with AI and technology. They are trying to get as much as they can done with the least amount of people possible. Microsoft just announced mass layoffs, and we are going to continue to see companies do this during the Great Restructuring. So if you're working for a big corporation, you've been warned.
Day 3, getting laid off. Okay, so yesterday I reached out to my network, have some things set up, gonna spend some time with a previous boss who has been so spectacular in just like talking through some of the stuff in the past. And you go through the same trauma with with someone. It's always nice to talk. I did get some advice from a couple of friends last night. I had some panic attacks yesterday, but I think most of my panic attacks are around budgeting and finances and all of that stuff. It is just, I don't know my severance. So it's really hard to understand what I'm going to need. So I'm going to backtrack into what goes out every month, what do we need, and then I'll figure all that out. So today is a budget day, and then I'm going to celebrate the weekend.
The second week of August, new jobless claims unemployment numbers are in, and it is alarming. It is trending up. It is higher than what was expected. Initial jobless claims are what's reported every week to tell you the new people unemployed. The new people unemployed in the United States last week, 235,000 new people just last week is unemployed. We are over 7 million unemployed. If you look at this number, look at what this says. This says that this is the highest in 3 years. We are getting to COVID era unemployment claims. There are over 7 million people unemployed, and tariffs are just now starting to hit their stride. Companies are losing billions. They're laying off, and they are not hiring. Shipping has slowed down because people are not buying, and also the import costs. People are staying unemployed longer as well. These numbers are alarming. Drop a comment and stay on this thread, because this thread is for unemployment.
I got laid off yesterday and I'm literally shaking talking about this. I really debated whether or not I was going to even post about this. And I decided ultimately that this is probably a journey that I should share with you guys, especially because of the macroeconomic environment right now. There are a lot of layoffs happening. So if you have gone through a layoff recently, I'm right there with you. Majority of yesterday to obviously process what had happened, especially because it came out of nowhere. Absolutely no warning was provided. A meeting was just put on my calendar the day of for 3:30, and my manager and HR hopped on the call, and they literally said, "We're gonna have to let you go. We're tightening some things up." Surprisingly, I did not cry. It was obviously very disappointing, but honestly, I had felt like I was not in the right place for the majority of the past year that I had been in this job, but I had been pretty much trying to force it. And I think the universe was definitely just saying, "Grace, it is time for you to move on." I also definitely had an identity crisis. If you guys know me, you know that I take a lot of pride and joy in my ability to be a really hard worker and a good worker as well. In the company that I was at previous to this company, I was a top performer. I literally closed 100% of my deals. Like, a big part of my identity, it does lie in being really good at my job. And I'm realizing that that's probably something that I should work to take out of my identity, because at the end of the day, we are so much more than our jobs. There is a saying that basically says, if a flower is not blooming, you don't change the flower, you move the environment that it's in. And I think the reason that I'm able to take this so calmly is because I know that something really amazing is about to come my way. I think that if something similar has happened to you, it's really important right now for you not to take this personally. It is not your fault if a company is not able to effectively manage their finances or has overhired or any other issues that ultimately trickle down to you being let go from the company. And I think that this is an important lesson that all of us are learning this year, and definitely seeing a trend in all types of employees taking a lot of ownership in maintaining work-life balance and making sure that their job doesn't take up a majority of their life, which I personally love. If you guys have been following me in the past 2 months, you know that I have been taking a lot of intentional action to make sure that I'm building a consistent and disciplined lifestyle that aligns with the type of woman that I want to be. And this was just another aligned action that I unfortunately was not expecting at all to come my way. But I guess now I can look at it as a pleasant surprise. When something like this happens in your life and it makes you feel like you have officially hit rock bottom, you have a pivotal choice to make in this type of moment. You have the ability and the freedom in this moment to make a choice that comes next that will put you either in the right direction that you're supposed to go or keep you stagnant. I know I'm personally taking the next few days to really reflect on what I want for the rest of my life and make sure that whatever opportunity I take next really aligns with what I know I'm supposed to do. I'm really excited to see what comes next. I actually already have a couple of opportunities lined up, which I'm super grateful for. But I definitely want to make sure that I'm making the right decision for whatever comes next, because this past decision that I made obviously was not the best one that I should have taken on. But we live and we learn. And I'm super excited because I feel like the world is my oyster at this point. Like, I have the freedom to be able to make a really, really important decision. And that's not something that I'm taking lightly in any way. I will be sharing about this process because I think that it helps to be able to share and be able to connect with people who are also going through it. So if you are also going through something like this, feel free to send me a message. Let's talk about it. I've been talking with so many people over the past day, and it has helped a lot. So if anything, make sure that you reach out to your support system and do not try to take on this alone. It is very important for you to be supported, especially during a time like this.
All right. It is March 3rd of 2025, and I am officially laid off of my job. I was a project manager for a solar company out in Missouri, working remote, and they let go of the whole department as of today. So this really does suck. not too sure what to do now other than to update my resume and try to find a job in the area. But yeah, it really does suck. So if you have any tips on resumes, or if anyone is hiring in the San Antonio area or New Braunfels, please let me know. I'll keep y'all updated.
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.